Welcome to the Beauty and You podcast, a safe place created for all women to come relax, get inspired, and be constantly reminded that they have not lost the ability to be who they once were. Join us as we dive into the true meaning of rediscovery through inspiring guests and topics such as healing, self-love, and creating a positive mindset. So sit back, relax, and get comfortable as we dive into this week's episode. Here's your host, Chiquita Mack.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Beauty and You podcast. I am so excited for this, you guys. We are about to go on a journey for real. Our guest today is so special, so remarkable, and she definitely has a story that you want to hear and you can definitely relate to. Tenee King is a digital entrepreneur and founder of TK Tips Lifestyle. She is a creative strategist and wellness inspiration. A little bit about her brand. TK Tips Lifestyle is a brand that focuses on motherhood, wellness, honoring the village through inspirational merchandise and sharing realistic recommendations and experiences for you to live well daily and celebrate it. Hey, Mama, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Nice to see you as well. I am so happy that you are here with me. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a guest on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So I am in love with your story. There's many different parts of your story. Your journey is just remarkable. But I want you to give me the starting point. Share a little bit of your rediscovery journey and what led you to where you are today.
So I reside in Cary, North Carolina with my husband and daughter. My daughter is 6, but I am originally from Philadelphia. South Philadelphia, to be exact. You have to put that in there, claim it South Philadelphia. So I guess my rediscovery story really would be once I became a mom, because I became a mother at the age of 37. And I feel like everything that I did prior all came together once I became a mom. So I have a background in fashion. I have a background in tourism and hospitality management, working in entertainment and film, being an entrepreneur and a consultant. And literally all of those things came into play to me when I was thinking about this. Once I became a mom, running your household, now I'm a stylist for my child. I'm a chauffeur. I'm doing the budget, just doing all of the logistics and various nuances of what I did in my careers. And now I'm implementing it into being a mother, even cooking. I found a new love for making plant-based meals for my family. And previously, I've always been intentional about what I eat and what I put in my body. But now that I have my daughter and my family, it is a priority. So things that I would do in the past, like I love fruit and, I am not plant-based, but my daughter is plant-based. My husband is vegetarian. I like to call myself flexitarian.
There you go.
So, I'm not getting ready to make 3 meals. So normally my breakfast and my dinner are plant-based because those are the 2 meals that we normally have together as a family. So even thinking about that, just it all came together. That's all that I can say. Once I became a mom, things really began to click. I began to slow down and take a beat because my life, I was constantly moving fast, working in entertainment, working in fashion. It's always hurry up and wait. And even the hurry up and wait piece can equate to my daughter, because now that she's older, she has so many different extracurricular things that she's doing. And I constantly find myself hurry up and waiting. Oh, she has swim today, so I have to get the carpool by this time so I can whisk her off, change her clothes to get in the swim, and then I'm waiting.
Yep.
And now I'm waiting. And it's a constant repeat of that. And it's like, oh, okay. So when I worked in fashion as a model, or I worked in fashion as, owning my own brand, I was a co-owner doing a fashion show. It's hurry up and wait. Even one day I was packing my daughter's diaper bag. And as a model, you have a model bag. And it is all the essentials that you need to, if you have a photo shoot, if you have a fashion show, just you have that model bag with, the correct underwear, the correct pantyhose, a new pair of shoes, a black pair of shoes, like all of the essentials that you would need if a designer says, hey, we don't have your size, we don't have this, do you have it? So, as a mother, the diaper bag, it's your third arm.
Yep.
Having all of those essential things. So my rediscovery story really, to me, happened once I became a mom. It just all clicked because I was just moving and living and accomplishing many great things. And then like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's going, what am I going to do next? And my daughter gave me the ability to take a pause, understand that you can just chill, you can be still, and it doesn't always have to be on the go. Even though now as she's older, we're on the move a lot more because I'm just an on the go person, and now that's in her. So she's like, Mommy, what are we doing today? Are we going to see art? Because being 37, I did so, I've done so many things prior to being a mom that I was intentional about not losing myself.
Yeah.
And having my daughter be a part of what I do. So if I like 5-star restaurants, then you're going to go. If I want to go to a festival, you're going to go. If I want to go to the museum, then you're going to go, So it's now her lifestyle, but it's something for me. Like I said, I just wanted to be intentional in doing and not losing myself, but also discovering so many other things, like discovering that being a mom is its own sorority in itself.
It is.
I didn't know that. And it's great to sometimes, because I don't always want attention on me. I'm glad that I have my daughter because I can I'm in this space, I can focus on her.
Yeah.
Right. I don't have to be the center of attention, or if I'm not feeling like that I want to be the most social, or sharing, then I can just talk mom talk. And I didn't even know that was a thing, prior to being a mom. But just to really get back to that original question, that rediscovery piece, like everything clicked once I became a mother. And I was I like to say partly to mostly, not even partly to mostly, I was so about being a mom just because of my upbringing. So I was raised by a single father, and I had 4 grandmothers, 2 great, 2 grand. And I moved with my dad at the age of 5. And that was the best decision for me, based on what was happening prior to that. So I was always a little questionable about if I wanted to be a mom. And then once I became a mom, like I said, it just clicked. And I'm curating it in my way. I'm curating in a way that is comfortable for me, that's comfortable for my husband, and it's working.
That's all that matters, is that it's working for you.
And
that's
if
the
it
important part.
Right, we adjust.
Yes.
We adjust and we move forward. It's no playbook, but tapping into those transferable skills of, or when I was growing up and having my grandmother. So, I was blessed to have 4 women that were pillars, in my life. So it's like, okay, from you, I get my style, and I understand hospitality, and I understand being graceful, and I understand being patient, and I get my hustle and grit. So all of that combined, and then you have your, your aunts and my father is in there as well. But those people, that's why I talk about honoring the village, because the village is the reason why I'm here today, because they saw enough in me to take me out of a situation that wasn't ideal and put me in a situation that was, and they rallied around me so that I could be my best self.
And I think that's remarkable. That is absolutely remarkable. One thing that I think is beautiful about your story is that for you, everything clicked when you became a mom. Most people's stories is opposite, like it fell apart when I became a mom.
Exactly.
But your story is that no, it all came together. You were able to live your life, enjoy, learn a whole bunch of different lessons from all the experiences. And then when you became a mother, everything came together.
Yes.
I do want to ask you, was there anything you ever feared about becoming a mom?
Well, I feared becoming a mom because I didn't have the best relationship with my mom. And the level of disappointment that in my earlier years that that I had based off of our interactions and different things with my mom. You know, my mother was 17 when she was pregnant, when she got pregnant with me, 18 when she had me. And, you know, your paper route is your paper route. So I always look at it as she is a woman before she's my mom. And her choices were her choices, but they actually motivated me. They motivated me to want to just, you know, do my best and just excel and be of excellence. And then it also motivated me to kind of be like, well, if the number one person that's supposed to really want you in their life kind of can take or leave you, then it's like, okay, nothing's stopping me, you know. But on the mothering end, you know, on that children, and it was like, oh no, am I going to be this way? You know, you know, have the same reaction? And it's like, no, well, you're your own person. So you can't get caught up in that. And again, my mom's paper route is her paper route. And the way I see her today as a grandmother, I understand her level of love. And I also, you know, got to dig back into that grace piece and say, hey, again, she had to do what she needed to do. At least you were getting dropped off at your grandmother's even before I lived with my grandmother. So she knew the safe space, you know, for me to be in. And but I really had that pause for a very long time. You know, you could get caught up in age, and you can get caught up in numbers and timing, and God will redirect all of that, you know. And once I met my husband and we became serious, that was really the first time I thought about being a mother, because he's so amazing and so great. I said, this man is deserving to be a father. Beautiful. You know, and I want to gift him that if God sees fit. So really getting married and being in the relationship that I'm in, it helped me shift those thoughts, you know, and that fear. And it made me tap into, again, being self-reliant, you know, like, look, you've done this, and this. You can be a mom. You know, you have too many amazing examples for you to fail. And if you know you fail at something, it's okay. You get back up and you keep it going. But I will say I had reservation. And I had reservation for a long time. Like 35 was my number, right? Yeah. Oh, if I don't have a kid by 35, then I'm not having it. And it's like, girl, sit down. Because what you did was get pregnant at 36. What you did is have your first child at 37. So stop it with the 35 thing. And it was, I never really said it to one or two friends, you know, but, you know, in my head, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Absolutely not.
That's what you thought, though.
That's what I thought. Exactly.
No, I think that we talk about like our mothers, and I know for me and my journey, it wasn't until I was an adult to understand my mom's, I guess, path and what she was doing, because I was with my grandma a lot growing up. And I just remember my grandma and my aunt always, and I didn't see my mom. But when I got older, it was like, oh, because she was actually working 2 jobs to try to take care of me so I can have everything that I need. But at that moment, it was like, well, she's never here.
Right.
You know, like, why is she never here? So it's just crazy how things do shift and relationships do change. We are close now, but it was when I had my son that we actually got closer, and he's 15 now. So it's 15 years. That's not, you know, too long, but it's just crazy how things just shift. And then you're like, I'm living life now. Oh, okay. I see.
Exactly.
I see the picture now. I understand now.
Yep.
It's crazy.
It really is.
But I'm thankful. I'm thankful for a lot, that the hustle in me, I know I get that from her. and the striving to be the best I can be. I know I get that from her. I didn't see it before, but I see it now.
Yep. I understand that, because even now for me, my mother has beautiful personality, and she's very reserved and laid back, but then she can also move and be like the star of the show. And that's kind of how I am. She's very helpful and very thoughtful, she flows, very easygoing. So I'm understanding, like, now that I have her, really in my life because of my daughter, it's like, oh, okay, like we jive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we really jive. So, the sense of humor wise and all of those things. Like, my mother was a dental hygienist. And, I think about, like you saying, her working, and then unfortunately she had issues with her health. So she had to stop working fairly early, and, has rheumatoid and all, different things. And then other life choices, that just made her go down a different road. But now I see the strides that she's made. And like I said, through my daughter, I can just see it, like her. I can see her and my mother in her full self, that she couldn't give me, at 18 years old, because she was still trying to figure out herself.
Right.
She still wanted to, do teenager things, and it's like, okay, I get it. Like I said, she made the decision. Well, the village,
The village, yes.
right? The village made that collective decision for the best for me. So
what would you say to a mom that's struggling to find her village? What advice would you give her?
this is an interesting question, because I've always had a built-in village, and this is a great question, because I never even thought outside of that, because it's my normalcy. But I would think about those people that always have just been there for me. And it doesn't have to be a family member, it could be someone you worked with, someone you go to church with. It could be a neighbor, that mom that's the only mother when you drop your kid off at school that says hello.
Yeah.
And because I've been there, I've been there, like, saying hello, and someone actually came to me like, thank you, for saying, you say hi to me every morning and no one else does. So being able to pinpoint the various people that you might have had exchanges with, and it might not have always been completely, like, very bountiful, but a quick exchange, and it's like, it's something about this person that I like. So you kind of have to step out and be fearless and introduce yourself, to begin to build the village, the foundation of people that can rally around you. And it doesn't have to take a whole lot of people, but just having that discernment to understand who would be the right person or the right people to rally around you. So again, if it's not family, it's not family. You don't have to get caught up in that.
Yeah.
You don't have to get caught up in that, but really being able to key in, like I said, on your exchanges. You don't know how often, like, I look at your IG page, I'm like, we would really be friends. Like, I could be her friend, like, like, because I don't just randomly follow people.
Yeah.
I want to follow people that align with what I am doing, and it's genuine. Like, you're too busy. You're not giving off fake. You know what I mean? So, and it's even that, I've met really cool people social media wise. Now that we're living in this social media world, if you are, because sometimes people can be very personable online, but not in person.
That part. Yep.
Right? So even if you build a village, that's your social media village that you feel comfortable with, you can do that too. So understanding your personality and your level of comfort, and just tapping into, again, to those people that you're like, okay, I think this could work, and this person could be a safe space for me, or these people can be a safe space for me. And you just see how it goes, and you look, ask God to align
Right.
you,
Yes.
pray intentionally. Lord,
Right.
I need a village. I can't do this by myself. And can you please connect me and redirect me to the people that are going to be for me, that it's a safe space and I can trust and build
Absolutely.
community with.
Absolutely. That community and building and trusting. I hope Leona, if you out there, girl, hi. But listen, I would not have made it without her. When I had my son in school,
Mm-hmm.
and I was 21 when I gave
Wow.
birth.
Wow.
And so it was me and my husband, and we were going to school and working at the mall. I worked at Charlotte Russe. And he
Hey, I
worked at,
love Charlotte Russe.
listen, it was it then, right?
Yes.
And and he worked at Finish Line in Sears.
Okay.
And we was struggling. I mean, we was struggling. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember I had Trey at one daycare, and I didn't have the most like warm and fuzzy, but then I was like, oh my God, I'm such a bad mom. Like I have to go to work and I don't feel comfortable with this daycare.
Mm-hmm.
But he always clicked to her. He was always with her.
Okay.
And I remember one time we went to pick him up, and she's like, I'm not gonna work here anymore. And I'm like, oh my, okay, so maybe my feelings not off. But I asked her straight up, like, can you watch my child?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was always with her. And she did. Like
Wow.
if she didn't have Trey, I would have not graduated
Wow.
college or been able to work to support him had she
Mm-hmm.
not said absolutely. And I mean, she pretty much like, it was me, I'm his mom, but that was, he was with her.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
my parents were 10 hours away. And
Mm-hmm.
so I really built that community with her. And then even her mom. So when Trey started kindergarten,
Mm-hmm.
um, it just where he went to school was too far for her. But then her mom was like, I'll pick him up, because she was around
Wow.
the corner from me. And so when
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, like, her family is my family, like without them, we would not even be, that was the foundation right there. So really
That's great.
having that community
Mm-hmm.
and just trusting, and yeah, I love her to death. So Leona,
You said
hi
you
girl.
said Leona?
Leona, yes.
Wow, I
And her
have
mom's name's Leona too. So Miss Leona and Leona.
nice. One of my great grandmother, it's interesting. My great grandmother's sister and mother. So my great great grandmother name was Leona. And
Wow.
one of my great grandmother's sister's name was Leona. So shout out to Leona.
Leona's, y'all are it. Y'all are it.
Yes.
So I do want to, because I don't think you're gonna get too deep into it until I bring it up, because you're real modest. But I
Okay.
need you to talk about this modeling career you had, because you're beautiful, sis. I need you to talk about it. So you were a model when you first started, like your career. Talk me through your modeling career.
Sure. So, and thank you for the compliments. So I was introduced to modeling at 17. My best friend since the age of 4, her aunt owned a charm school. And she started doing a lot of fashion shows in the Philadelphia area. So my friend was like, hey, do you want to go to my aunt's studio with me? I'm like, okay, and I went, and, I'm seeing all these beautiful, tall women and men, and they're walking and, and wearing cool clothes. And I'm like, oh, I like this. So, I was 15, 16 at the time when I first started going and kind of just peeping the scene. And then when I turned around 17, they would ask me to be in shows, but I was so shy, Mac. Like, I was shy. I'm not even going to hold you. Very, very shy. And they were like, well, my nickname is Tay. Like, Tay, do you want to walk? Do you want to be in a show? And I'm like, okay. So like my first experience was a hair show.
Mhm.
So did the hair show, and I had the bug. I was like, oh, okay. I like this. I like being on stage. I like people clapping for me.
Mhm.
This is cool. So pretty much from 17 to 19, I just kind of did shows for classic production, Stephanie King classic production. And that moved me into thinking about it seriously, but I just really didn't know how to truly break into it. So one day I was walking, it's very cliche, but this is what happened. I was walking down the street in downtown Philadelphia, and at the time I had a huge afro. My hair is really curly. And when it's long, though I wear it short often now, I had like a really big, like curly fro, like put you in the mind of like Tracy Ellis Ross.
Ooh.
So this is 1997 though. So it's not necessarily the look,
Right.
you know, but it was like, I like to wear my hair like this. I always wore ripped jeans, you know, my white t-shirt. Like I just had my own style and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to rock my clothes. And a photographer stopped me when I was walking down the street and was like, hey, I love your look. I'm a photographer. I would love to shoot you. I go to New York often, you know, and I even manage a couple of girls. Would you like to do a test shoot with me? So I didn't even know what a test shoot was, you know, so I'm rattling off questions like a test shoot, like what is that? Okay. So it's like, you know, you come to my studio, we take shots of you, you know, have different outfits on and we just see how you photograph and we take it from there. And that happened, you know, went home, told my dad, you know, you know, that I was approached and he's like, okay, well, is this something that you want to do? You know, had my friend go with me to the photo shoot, you know, to make sure it wasn't no funny business.
Yeah.
And it was cool, you know, that was another community that I was invited into. And it was a group of us who worked with this photographer and he really, you know, trained us up to be able to go to New York. And he had great relationships in New York. And I went and ended up getting signed with a modeling agency. And now that wasn't like right off the gate because my look was different. They didn't necessarily get it at first. It's like the afro, okay, you know, I have freckles, you can't really see. It was, you know, I was just a little different, but I was like, somebody's gonna like my different. And that happened, you know, signed, you know, with the agency and then wound up actually having multiple agencies in New York and working as a runway model there. And then I also had a agency at home, Philadelphia. So I did work in Philadelphia. One of my neighbors worked at a art school that was near my house. And she was a designer and a teacher at the school at the time. And she asked me, she saw, you know, one day, like, would you want to model for me at, you know, Moore College of Art and Design? I didn't even know where that was or what it was. And come to find out, I would ride by the school every day and I didn't know because my high school was right near there, but I didn't even put it together. So I ended up becoming a fit model for the Moore College of Art and Design, their fashion department. And a fit model basically is the senior class, they have to do a collection and they have to, you know, you have to have models fit the clothes to make sure that your collection is correct. So I would come in and, you know, they would fit me. You start off with a muslin garment and the next thing you know, you see this beautiful garment being done. And then they asked me to become a fashion illustration model where I stood on a platform and that was hard. You know, I stood on a platform and in certain poses so they could draw me so they could understand how friction works with body and how my folds are in my shirt right now, how you draw that and how clothes lay. So everything from coats to swimwear to formal wear to leisure, you know, they would draw me in those particular clothes. And that relationship with the fashion department at Moore College lasted for me for 10 years. And it sustained me in between modeling gigs in New York. So what I learned in the modeling game was the various avenues that you could take for being a model. So though I was first introduced to, you know, runway, because I was tall, I'm 5'9", but that only happens, you know, a few times a year, fall and spring. So in between that, it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do? And I started really befriending photographers, makeup artists, stylists, hairstylists, because those are the people that are there. They still have to work. Like they're not just doing fashion shows. So I'm like, okay, well, what are you working on? And like, well, actually, I work in a showroom. There is a thing called showroom models. So basically what I was doing for Moore College, it kind of elevated And I worked for Showroom 7, and I would come and wear clothes. A stylist or a buyer would come in, but they want to see the clothes on a model. They want to see a model walk. So that was one of my jobs. I worked as a what do you call it? Like a trade show model.
Yeah. Yep.
Again, elevated from a showroom, you would go to, in New York, I think it's called like the Jarvis Center or something like that. But like their biggest convention center. And some people will probably know it like the Magic Show in Las Vegas. So all different brands, showcasing their upcoming collection. And buyers from Nordstrom and, whatever other big companies, small companies are in between. Some people that just own boutiques are coming to buy the newer clothes or the newer collections for their stores. And I did that, and then I moved into when I started being more so in Philadelphia with my home agency, QVC.
Mm-hmm.
I worked as a QVC model for a bit, and that could be anything from being a hand model, modeling fingernail polish, to doing something with your hair. So I really learned the various nuances of modeling just by really connecting and building community and cultivating relationships with the key players.
Yep.
I had model friends, but a model, they're not going to get you a job.
No
So
competition.
yeah, so it's like I'll tell you about this. They might tell you about a go-see, really, if you have a drastic different look for them. So it's like my look is my look, your look is your look. So okay, I'll tell you today, because we're not on the same lane as far as our features or whatever. But that was my modeling career. So really, I was a professional model from 19 to 30. So about 35, I want to say I stopped. 25, I had a stint of a break because I lost my paternal grandmother. And I really was just in a space of with the modeling industry. I was tiring of it. It's a lot. Like I said, the hurry up and wait, the travel, and I traveled really cool places. And even I didn't even get to like doing all of the photo shoots and magazines and all of those things. And it wasn't as fulfilling anymore.
Yeah.
So I just took a pause for a little bit and then started working in a store with a stylist friend that I knew, and then moved back into modeling again, but it was really on my terms. So I would really like, okay, I'll do QVC, or I'll work for this designer, or I'll still do this. But I was very, very selective on who I was working with. And I also wanted to do a bit more, moving into at that time, like I said, I was 25. So it was like, okay, what else am I going to do? And that what else kind of moved me into entrepreneurship. But even though I wasn't even thinking as a model, I was an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because, like I'm my own business. Even though you have an agent, you still have to put your best foot forward in maintaining your look and maintaining your skin and, showing up and knowing what to do to book the job, and then maintaining your own finances and insurance, all of these things that nobody tells you, you have to figure it out. There's no union for models, so it's you're learning by hearing and by seeing somebody like, oh, she's doing that. Okay, maybe I should try it. Then, and also based on my upbringing of just understanding, what was instilled in me, the things that you should have. And it's like, okay, well, I have to have life insurance. I need to have health insurance, okay. But I had to understand how to pay out of pocket. But again, having those relationships and working with the photographers and stylists, like they had to do the same thing.
Right.
So it was like, okay, well, who do you use, and just not being afraid to talk about that. But modeling was amazing. It afforded me to see many different places. It afforded me to be in spaces that I never knew existed, let alone me being able to be a part of it. It was a major confidence boost, because being tall and thin, you get picked on and this and that. Like I never really like fell into the trap. But you do kind of look around like, okay, I do not look like everybody else. And okay, well, I do have women in my family that are tall, and so I'm looking at my grandmother, I'm looking at my aunt, but it really just afforded me a beautiful escape. And but it also afforded me business acumen, it and being able to move and be a chameleon.
Yeah.
With a lot of times with modeling, you don't even speak. So you're just listening and hearing everything.
Yeah.
So it made me be very intuitive and keen, like cued in, like, oh, okay. Just taking it all in and just filing it based off of my interactions with people, but always remaining pleasant. And when there were times for me to speak up, it's like, okay, you're going to hear what I have to say, and you're going to want to converse with me. And that is the way I build those relationships. Like, oh, she's timely, she's professional, she's hospitable, but also not a pushover, because I'm not just going to do anything. And they will try you, so it also it helped me build that resilience, and it helped me build and understand exception and rejection. Right. So, okay, you don't like my look. Okay. You know how many no's I've received, but it's so many yeses that I had received. So it's like, okay, you don't get it. All right. It's fine, because, maybe one or two times, I was disappointed. Like, oh, I didn't book this job. I remember I wanted the Baby Fat show so bad, because I love
Baby Fat.
Kimora Lee. And,
I remember.
And I went to the go see, and like my portfolio, I just didn't have enough big names in it at the time. But Miss J from, I don't know if you watch Top Model.
Yes.
But Miss J, he pulled me aside. And he was like, don't stop. You have a great look. This is just how this goes. It's politics, sweetheart. But keep going. You have a great look, and you're going to do well. And I always say that, no, I wasn't Tyra Banks. No, I wasn't Kimora Lee Simmons, but I was Tenee Nelson at the time. And I forged my own lane. And like I said, I had the opportunity to work in so many different lanes of modeling that everybody, they don't get the opportunity to, or they don't even know about. So it sustained me, and it sustained me enough to help me become a co-owner of a fashion business. So I was a co-owner of a brand with a stylist friend that I had met from Philadelphia, and she was the only other person that I knew that was traveling to New York. So when I met her, I was like, oh my gosh, you do the same thing, but just on this level. So, her and I started working together and doing photo shoots and different things. And just the opportunity came up because she was designing really cool hoodies and matching, like upcycling is what you call it now, but upcycling like Converse sneakers to match the hoodies. And she was like, well, I want you to model for me. And I was like, well, that's cool, but I want to do more. Because I started getting into my mind of, I'm more than just a model, and I want to do more. And I left this out, but at 17, from 17 to about 20, I did go to college, but I was so like half in and half out. So modeling really saved me from getting a degree in something that I really didn't even understand that I wanted to get a degree in. My grandmother had started getting sick more at the time. And then I saw how modeling could be lucrative, and that could be, a burden taken off of my family if I could sustain myself, and then also be able to help my home my family as well. But, I, just after working in modeling for so long, I just wanted to be seen more than Tenee the model. But when I think about it today, Tenee the model is who I am, because like I said, it is so many parallels that modeling has helped me with throughout my journey, and just being able to understand forecasting and understand sales and understand marketing and understand how to talk with people and be that chameleon and be seen and not be heard, but still file the pertinent information, and then, like I said, even with the brand that I co-owned from the age of 27 to almost 30, you know, the money that I earned from modeling was help that.
Yeah.
It helped fund that business, you know, because I was working so much. It was like save, 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 you know. And then also it taught me how to budget, because as a model, you know, people talk about net 30 and net 60. Now, you know, you get paid every 30 days or every 60 days if you have a particular contract.
Yep.
Very similar to modeling, very similar to as a freelancer. You know, you'll get a contract or you get a job and you complete it, but you don't get paid until 30 to 60 days later. So for me, I had to understand how to budget and, you know, really save my money, forecast, you know, what's coming up in the pipeline, what I'll be able to do based on how the modeling industry paid. And all of those things, you know, kind of transferred into the business that I was co-owning. And modeling, you know, is just, it owes me like what they say, it owes me, the streets owe me nothing. Like
Yeah.
modeling, you know, it's just the gift that keeps giving. And as much as I try to shy away from it and not always talk about it, and I think I shared this with you in our previous conversation, I had to come to grips with, no, it's a part of who you are.
Yes.
And don't be afraid to speak about it and share your story on it. But you can get caught up in your own, I don't know, what you think should be. And it's like, no, this, like I say, paper route, like this is what your journey and your paper route was, and modeling was a part of that. And you've done more than so many people won't. And you need to embrace that, you know, because my childhood friends, they all did the traditional route. They went to college, graduated in 4 years and had their careers, and then went on to get master's degrees and, you know, doctorates, PhDs, whatever. And it's like, oh, but no, you're not just a model, girl.
You're
like,
more.
Yeah. So
You're
I
more.
really got caught up in that, you know, and had to sit back and think that through. Like, nope, that's not the case.
No.
And it has really blessed me. Modeling has blessed me so much, you know, and I'm thankful for it, you know.
As you
And
should be.
and
As
it's,
you
you know,
should be.
it's just every piece. Then when I think about it, every part of my life, you know, being an entrepreneur, you know, working in hospitality, you know, even my lifestyle brand now, like I'm the face of it.
Yep.
So it's not leaving me, you know, it's staying with me. So it's on me to embrace it. And it's on me now to implement it in my story in a cool way.
Yep.
You know, I could be modest, and like I said, I don't
That's
always
why
want
I
that.
said it.
It's like,
Yeah, I knew,
So,
because I knew if I didn't bring it up, you would not have brought it up. You would have skipped over that whole part. And for me, it's like, no, that part, like when we talked previously, a lot of your lessons came from your years as a model. You learned so much, I feel like, about yourself during that time, and you also learned so much about life. So you kind of can't tell your story unless you talk about the modeling part, because it is a part of you and who you are. And I just really think that as you continue on your journey, that you do share more of those experiences and just those lessons alone, because even that brings more to your brand, which we're going to get into in a little bit. It brings so much more to that, because those lessons, you can't get those anywhere else. And your experience, I would love to have half of those experiences that you had as a model. But I did go the traditional route and I was in school. But I had my own struggles, right? I had my son young and I was going through that whole process. And I think I told you before, it's crazy how we are on our own journeys and then you want something else. And then that person wants what you have. And you're like, wait, and it's just like, you know, what is your definition of success? And you can go on, it can go on and on and on.
Yes.
But I do think that, you know, you're modeling, like I said, you're gorgeous, and your career is still beautiful. And those lessons, you can't just shy away from them. They're very, very important. And so thank you for sharing that on
Thank
my
you.
platform.
Thank
Because I
you.
know
Thank you.
that, like I said, if I wouldn't have brought it up, you wasn't gonna say that.
No, thank you for the nudge.
Oh my goodness. I do want to take it back a little bit and I want to
Mhm.
talk about college.
Okay.
I want to talk about college because I know, like I said, I went a little more traditional route. You
Mhm.
didn't. You still had a great career, but that was still something that was hanging back there for you.
Mhm.
Talk to me about what importance it was for you to complete college.
So I have this thing where I am a person that I don't want to be of incompletion.
Mm.
So I want to complete it, and I have a love for concept to fruition or concept to launch, right?
Mhm.
So, and I didn't even listen, I didn't even know that thinking about the whole college situation, again, talking about those connecting dots, I
Mhm.
didn't know that's what it was until I moved into another career that we'll talk about. But that was just always looming over my head. So I parted ways with the business that I had and my business partner. We left on a high note, but it was just recession and some other things that happened. It just made the most sense for us to shut the business down. And I was in a transition, crossroad, as most would say, trying to understand what my next was going to be. Wasn't really modeling anymore because I had been working in my business for about 4 years. I was modeling for my business, but I didn't have an agent, and I was 31 years old, and I was kind of like, okay, like I still have some clients, but I don't just want to model, and I don't just want, I was just with my business. What do I want to do? I
Mhm.
became a maitre d' of a really cool restaurant in downtown Philadelphia. It was like top notch, 37 stories high, coveted place for people to want to come dine. And a friend of mine, she asked me to go to like an open call for house staff
Mhm.
for that restaurant. And I ended up getting hired as a hostess and then becoming the maitre d' of that particular restaurant. And within that caliber of restaurant, you meet so many different people. And one person that I met was the dean of the School of Tourism and Hospitality Management for Temple University. And I would converse with him a lot and, in person or on the phone because I'm booking his favorite table and just making sure everything is okay for him when he comes for his reservation. And one day he was kind of like, well, who are you? Like, what are you doing? And
Mhm.
what else do you have going on?
Mhm.
And I have been having some loose conversations with friends, thinking through like what's my next going to be. And I think I want to go back to school, but what do I go back to school for? Originally, when I was in school, I was a communications major and I didn't want to do that. So when I talked to the dean I didn't even know that the tourism and hospitality school existed because that school wasn't a part of Temple University when I was there.
Mhm.
So, working in a restaurant, I'm working in hospitality. So it's like, oh, okay, like this makes sense.
Yeah.
But again, I wasn't keen in on those terms like tourism and hospitality. Oh, okay, what's that? So, long story short, he connected me with the right people at Temple University. They honored, the credits that I had in the past, a program that I was in the past that I kind of got grandfathered in, and then also gave me life credits for being an entrepreneur. And I started off with one class in the summer of 2011,
Mhm.
and I was still working as a maitre d', so I was part-time. And then I moved to two classes.
Mhm.
And then I ended up meeting my husband around I was going into like my third semester, and he was kind of like, you might want to consider going full time to school because you could just get it done faster. I'm like, okay, well, I'll think about that. But I'm also thinking about like money.
Mhm.
I live with my dad. I just minimize my spending, like minimize
Mhm.
my overhead so that I could go back to school and have that sacrifice of really taking my going back to college, like, this is my job now.
Right.
So I quit the job at the restaurant, and, we made great tips there. So I was able to really bank my checks and help myself through school with my tips. And, still took out a few loans just to have that safety net,
Right.
To not have to depend on anyone. And that really, really, really just propelled my second chance at college. Now, here I am going back to college 11 years later than when I originally was there. And I'm in class with, students that are 10 years younger than me. I ended up having to do internships, and those internships really helped me build relationship and really, kind of earn my stripes, because I didn't have a lot of hospitality experience,
Right.
Or tourism experience. But it's crazy how things work out, because I am a lover of tourism. Like, I love museums. Catch me at any concert, festival, fair, So I didn't know that I would end up working in this industry in that way. So, seeking a degree in tourism and hospitality. So my internships really opened my eyes to working in events, and specifically large scale events. So Temple University School of Tourism, Hospitality Management, it really changed the latter trajectory, like my 30s, right? It changed that trajectory for me, going back to school and taking it serious. So I ended up getting my bachelor's degree in 2014, and did really, really well in school, did internships. I had to do 2 mandatory internships, but I ended up doing 4, because we had to have a certain amount of hours of volunteering. And again, I just wanted to build relationship and really just get more experience under my belt in the industry. So going back to school, it was super cool, and it was something that I did for myself. It was nobody else, oh, I think you should, you look this way, you might want to do this, or, it was something that I made a decision to do on my own, because like I said, I'm not a person of incompletion. So that loomed over me, and I did it, and I did it in my way. And that was my first experience with like pace, not race. And I say that line a lot now, but that was really my first experience. Like, pace yourself. You're going to start off with 1, and then you're going to move up to 2 classes. And next thing you know, I had 4. And the next thing you know, it was like I had 5 classes, and was able to, get my degree. And it just took off for me, and it just introduced me to a whole different lane as far as career, but doing things that I enjoy. Like, I love fashion, so it wasn't hard for me to be a model, because I love fashion. I love magazines. I love clothes, and looking and dressing a certain way. And then here I am getting this tourism degree. Like, I started out thinking that I was going to be designing for the hospitality industry. And then I had a friend who told me, who had an internship. And she said, I think you would really like my director for my internship, and I think she would like you. And we work on this really cool event. It's called Global Fusion Festival, and we do it in Penn's Landing, which is the waterfront in Philadelphia. It's like a marquee event space throughout the summer. And that was my first internship. I had an internship with the Philadelphia Conventions and Visitors Bureau. And I did that for about a year, but I was specifically with their multicultural Congress division. And it just opened me up to understanding large scale events. And that also, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, a large scale event versus like a smaller event. But, like, our event had 20,000 plus people, that walked through the footprint when we did our Global Fusion Festival. And I think I might have told you that a year prior to me getting this internship and working on Global Fusion, I was at that particular event.
Yes. Yep.
And I was sitting there like, this is super cool. Like, I wish I could work on this. And then the next year I was working on it, and I produced all of the the festival week events that was leading up to the main event. And then on that day, like I had a specific job, and it was just like, wow, really be careful with the things that you put out there, because exactly that manifestation, because you just may get it. And yeah, my college career, like that took me there, and so many other cool experiences working in large scale events in Philadelphia. Still as an intern, I ended up getting my first contract as a producer, as associate producer of Welcome America Festival, which is a huge festival during the 4th of July time in Philadelphia. And I was able to get a contract while still being an intern. I hadn't even graduated yet. And then that turned into, after I graduated, I became a consultant for the city of Philadelphia and did the Philadelphia Marathon and any large event that happened in Philadelphia, I was a part of. So my tourism and hospitality degree just opened up a whole new avenue for career, for connection, for experience and knowledge for me that, again, I didn't even know that it would happen, but just listening to the universe and listening to, look, the people that see something in you, like the dean that saw something in me, and not being afraid to just go for it. Just do it, and pivot, like that's the word, that people use a lot now, but it was a pivot, and I didn't even know I was pivoting. And another strong blessing, because I met so many great people and discovered things about myself and things about me career-wise that I may not have known if I didn't take that chance and say, hey, I'm going back to school.
And that's what I like. Like, you are really big on relationships, and you can see that throughout each part of your journey. Like, you're really big on building those relationships and taking those chances and being confident. Like, I don't really know where it's going to take me, but I'm going to do this for me. And I just think that that's just beautiful. Like, that's lessons that some of them I had to learn on my own. Like, I wrote down, you said, someone's going to like my different. And I'm like, I like that. Put that on a t-shirt.
Yes.
Because that's true. Someone's going to like your different, but that's confident. Like, that takes some work to get to that level where it's like, all right, cool. It didn't work out for me. Someone's going to like my different next.
Yeah.
And you just have that.
Thank you.
So I love every part of your story, but I love community, relationship, and confidence. Those are the three things. Each part of your journey, I'm like, relationship, yep. Confidence, yep. Like, I can pick out.
Thank you. And I'm gonna have to write that down. Community, relationship, confidence. Yep.
It's led you to each part. So I just think that, yeah, your story's great. You need to
Thank you.
pat yourself on the back, boo, because you need to really embrace.
I appreciate that.
It brings me to the most important, right? Not the most important, but hey, where we are now. Okay. So your lifestyle brand now. I need you to, talk to me about your brand.
Sure. So during the pandemic, we're all home and trying to figure out, look, what are we doing? What's the next? What's about to happen? And I have always been the go-to person for my family and friends, like, oh, where should we go? Like, look, that tourism piece, again, it just always has been a part of me. Where should we eat? Where should we hang out? I'm that person that knows these little ridiculous facts. Like, I can tell you where Wells Fargo Bank is. Every Wells Fargo bank is in downtown Philadelphia. Like, why do I know this? But I do, so it's like, I'm just in the know, I'm tapped in. So a lot of people are like, you should do like a blog, or you need to do something where you share these cool things that you do, because even outside of me working in tourism and hospitality, that's what I do. That's what I live. Like I said, catch me at a pop-up. You're going to see me at a museum. You're going to see me at, like, oh, I went to that restaurant, or I want to try this restaurant, or, so people around me really was kind of pushing me to like do something around that. So I said, okay, well, I guess I'll, start an Instagram page, and I called it TK Tips. My name is Tenee King. So, and I had a friend that always would say like, TK, kind of like, there you go with another tip, like, okay, like I didn't know this, and kind of noting it. So TK Tips was born. And I started off with like just giving info at the time, like with pandemic stuff. And it was specifically around freelancers, like, someone like myself or a consultant, contractor. This was when like PUA was really big, and people, were trying to understand what they were going to do because we work in the field. So it's like everything is shut down. So, understanding how you could, be able to have money. And I learned the nuances of that and would put those tips up. And I had a friend who was working in social media, and she kind of gave me a crash course on, aesthetic on the page and setting up a post and different things like that. And I'm like, okay, let me, introduce me to Canva. And
I love Canva.
yes. And then I like redid my page and kind of, at that time it was Webinar Central. So it was this one woman that was like an Instagram person, like aesthetic person. And I did her free webinar. And, she's like, what is your soul essence of your page? And kind of like, how do you use your Instagram page and yada, yada, yada. And so I like redid my page, and I just started implementing things that I enjoy. And that's wellness, that's style, that's motherhood, and then also just like funny moments that's within those areas, specifically like being a mom and being a wife. I sometimes do little catchy, like silly things that I feel like, well, if I'm experiencing this, somebody else might be doing the same. So, the page, just started building a small community there, and started getting asked to be an ambassador for other brands or, paid partnerships. And those were going really, really good. And then I kind of had a pause and thinking about, I've done so many different collaborations, even before Instagram, like working as a model, being a co-owner of the business that I co-owned previously. And, really being successful and being able to make people money. And it was just like, well, why are you not doing this for yourself?
Yep, that part.
And then I will say, I could put, I don't know, like this headband. I'll wear this headband and I'll put a post up, or I'll put something in my, where'd you get that headband? Okay, I got it from here. And the next thing you know, like they're getting the headband, and then they're showing me that they got the headband. So it's like, oh, so you have an immediate return with people. If they see something that's on you, they get it right away. It's like that impulse buy when you're at the front of the counter and they have the gum and the hand sanitizer or what, a gift, whatever. And it's like, oh, let me just get this. So I understood my level of impact and level of influence. And conversion, and talked to my same friend. It was like, I think I might want to do something that's my own. And I'm thinking about a necklace. And she's like, okay. And I was like, I'm saying Mommin, I'm being a mother, I always kind of use that term, when I became a mom, like, oh girl, Al, what you doing? I'm momming in these streets. I'm, kind of just using that word. So the word mommin had been around, or, mommin, mommy, and, people pronounce it in different ways, but it's been around forever. So I had to find a way to make myself unique with using the word. And I decided to create a definition. And my definition for Mommin is a person who nurtures, sacrifices, and grinds for those they love while looking fly. And
that's it. That
is in honor of Dolly. That's in honor of Alma, will be. That's in honor of Blanche. That's in honor of Miriam, my grandmother. That's in honor of Anthony, my father, because that's what I saw them do. I saw them nurture. I saw them sacrifice, and all within it, they looked great and they were doing it effortlessly. I I didn't see a beat miss. I didn't see, a lot of struggle. It was just effortless. And now I know at the time, like, okay, this was happening, but they weren't making it, this way. And it was like, I have to honor that. I have to honor that. And so my definition is really taking a life of its own. It's in the Urban Dictionary. And so many people, when they see it, they really can relate to it. And it evokes a feeling that I didn't know that was going to happen. And so, I couldn't do the definition on a necklace. So I started off with just Mommin on a necklace. And I started off with 10 gold necklaces. And, this was the first time I really did something and it wasn't like as buttoned up. So, my friend told me how to get various vendors to design it and all of that good stuff. And, again, budget permitting, it was like, well, I'm not getting ready to do this. Let me start off here, So I shot my own campaign. Like, I can show you this picture.
Wow.
Right? This is my picture that I self-shot it, self-timer on the iPhone, and did my own makeup. And I just dropped it. I dropped it in my story and on my page, like in the middle of the night. People were like, what is going on? Like, okay. And I sold out, within like 2 hours of me dropping it. And like, oh, okay. So people like it. And it just has grown to me. Now I have a rose gold necklace and I have a silver necklace and I have gold hoops, and the silver hoops will be dropping soon. And that moved me into like, okay, well, I have to get the definition on something, So I did like my first t-shirts, and I did hoodies, and then I did sweatshirts, crew necks. I have my mug here that has the Mommin definition on it. And it has really been great because this is just how I live. Mommin is the way that I live. It's what I do daily, and what I've witnessed every single day of my life with my grandmother and my father. And I'm working a bit backwards. I think I told you with the business, because I just, kind of popped out. So like, oh, okay. Now I had to kind of backtrack and implement all of those things that I learned in business previously, to this TK Tips lifestyle. And, I literally started off with the Mommin collection by TK Tips, and like TK Tips lifestyle evolved. And it was like, oh, okay, because I want to share wellness, because that's something that is very important to me. And I still want to maintain partnerships with other brands that align with what I'm doing. But then my merch will accent that, will be a complement to all of these things. And that's where it is. I can say, I think I have representation in about 40 states in the US. Someone had that I've sent the Mommin necklace to. My apparel and more of the products are my dropship business. And I learned a whole new business, with doing this, understanding dropship and understanding on-demand printing. But the necklaces, all of the jewelry I house. So like I have my little section in my storage up on the third floor. Like that's my, like,
I
right
love it.
now, that's like my storage space. I put a post up a couple of weeks ago, a week or two ago, during Black Friday, and it was like, you see me packing a in my living room, but one day you're going to see me, in my warehouses. And just not being afraid to show that, and not being afraid to just start and bank on myself, because so many times I have collaborated and helped other people. Sometimes you get credit and sometimes you don't get credit. But when you bank on yourself and just don't take no for an answer, and it's not going to always be easy, and listen, I pause and I start and I stop, and but then it'll be somebody like you who reaches out and like, hey, I want to, I want to talk to you. I want you to be on my podcast. I'm like, okay,
Yes.
and I'm at the point now in my business where I'm starting to I need to build the team around me, because I can't just do things on my own. And I think I've gotten myself to a point. Okay, you've gotten to this point. Now you have to elevate, because the things that I do at between a 1 or a 3, I need people that can do it at a 10. So I'm implementing that now. So right now I am setting myself up for 2024 and having meetings and having conversation with people that I feel would be a great part of the TK Tips team. Mm-hmm. And there might be some different changes in it, to really streamline and understand, like really niche down on my lane and where I am most best useful and impactful, because I'm also in a space where I want to be impactful. I want to be actionable, and I want to have tangible experiences. And as much as I can help other people sometimes and figure out and strategize with other creatives, it's sometimes I can get stuck with myself. Mm-hmm. And and I'm now implementing a team. I think I shared with you that I've really been in education mode. Mm-hmm. And I've done, I'm in one business accelerator. I recently finished a MasterCard accelerator. Mm-hmm. One thing that really kind of shifted my focus was being invited to the Be Good Foundation luncheon, which is Beyonce's foundation luncheon. And it was a invite only selected businesses. It was only 100. I was one of 100 businesses that was invited to this luncheon, and grants were associated with it for like 10 to 12 other businesses. And I didn't get a grant, but my friend that I went with did, which was amazing. But they offer so many amazing resources. Yep. That I have tapped into that MasterCard program. They gave us like a cyber security program. It's so many different tools that they have given us. And then also community, because I was looking around like, oh, there's some people we're on the same level, some people a little above, some people just starting, and it is beautiful. Like it's really, really helped me understand that, again, just bank on yourself, because other people are seeing you. But it also, that Be Good luncheon made me realize that I wasn't all the way ready. Because now I know how I'll allocate funds. Yep. Now I know that I need a team. And I have, during the pandemic, I actually went back to school and I got a MBA, in digital entrepreneurship. And even though I have an MBA, this social media industry, it moves so fast. So being
a different world.
And so being able to be a part of these accelerators and learning things in real time as it's happening, that my MBA program didn't even teach me, is just aiding in my excellence. Yep. And it's aiding in me being able to say, hey, you might not be as focused on sales right now, but you're setting yourself up to understand how SEO works. You're setting yourself up to understand how to market properly, and putting people in place that really believe in you and your brand, and may see other things in you that you didn't even know that you should implement. And it's a great journey. It's a fulfilling journey, but I'm constantly trying to fine tune, because like I said, I am in a space of wanting to be impactful. I am in a space of wanting to give value and reciprocate that. Like we're not having a conversation and we're both reciprocating value, then what are we talking about? So I want my brand to reflect that. And in the midst of it, honoring my upbringing and honoring my other moms. And like Mommin is not about just being a mother. It's about that village. It is about, because I have aunts that don't have children and they've been momming. And listen, I was momming before I was momming.
Yep, always.
I was momming for my sick grandfather, my sick grandmother. I was momming for my other friends' children. I was momming for my nephew. I was momming for younger cousins and sacrificing and doing what I need to do to make sure that they have what they need. So, sometimes people they see that mom piece in the momming and they get caught up in that. So I've actually broken the various collections up. So now I have the Mommin collection, which houses Bomb Mom, which I'm wearing today, and Motivated Mother. Yeah. So everything under that is like the mom stuff. And then I have the Village. So under the Village, you're going to see Fave Aunt. I'm doing something for uncles because the guys are like, okay, when are you going to do something for us? When am I going to get a poppin'? I want a poppin' necklace. I'm like, okay. And then I'm doing something, with my wellness. So my Live Well Daily line, like you see the shirt back there, Live Well Daily. And that is all about, what I say, live well daily, celebrated with grace and style, because that is a major part of me. I'm going to tell you to take your vitamins every day. I'm going to show you that I'm walking and taking a daily walk, or I'm taking my Pilates, and I'm just being intentional around my wellness, because I've seen so much sickness in my life, and I want to, and I've had my own issues, high blood. I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, and I was like, oh, absolutely not. Yeah. I'm not accepting this. So changing my lifestyle and my eating lifestyle has really helped that. How my family, lifestyle, our choice of having my daughter be plant-based, my husband vegetarian, and just being mindful of what we're putting in our bodies. So all of that is my expression of me. That is TK Tips lifestyle. That is what it is. So the merch supports that, but building partnership and relationship and collaboration, like what we're doing right now, like this aligns with what you do. You're momming every single day. I see you with your kids. I see you with your husband. I see you, with your sweatshirt on, and I see you in your formal gown, looking fly in both.
Thank you.
Right? Like even your post today was momming. I'm doing this, and this. And then I got my podcast with that TK Tips. That's momming. So it's a lifestyle, and we're living it. And I just want to continue to elevate and lift my fellow parents up, my fellow mom, fave aunts, and just the village, and just see where it goes and grows. And again, listen to the universe and let it guide me. Let it guide me on what's the best and what's next.
You're doing it. And where you say, like, you want to be impactful, you already are being such an impact. I just want you to understand, like, you're learning the back end of it. We all start and then we got to go back and learn the back end. But as far as your impact and like what you're doing for the community and what Mommin means, like, you're doing that. And thank you. Everything that you said your brand means, you're already showing that. So now you're just learning the formality part of it.
Right. But I needed to be a well-oiled machine. Like, it just,
we got to learn that stuff so we know what we're doing, right? We got to learn how to run ads so we know what we're doing. We can't just give it to somebody. We're learning that part. But you are definitely demonstrating everything that your brand means. It's showing. So I want to commend you on that, because I see it, and I'm definitely going to order my necklace when we get off of here, because I need one. But
you personify Mommin.
But I'm just blown away. I love watching your Instagram. I want you to show more. Look at me pulling you. I'm pulling you.
But that's that 2024.
That's that
2024 intention. So thank you.
You shared so much today, but there's so much more to just get, like, just show more. Just don't be afraid. Like, you've never been afraid before. Your whole story from beginning to end that we've talked about, you've never been afraid before. So don't become that now.
Thank you. I received that.
Don't. I like when I watch, I'm like, she has more to say. She has more to say. I'm gonna have to be in a podcast, because I just feel like you just have such a remarkable story that's there. And I feel like you just need to share more. You're already inspiring people. And I know there's so many more people that you're definitely going to inspire, especially after they listen to this. Y'all get your Mommin necklaces, go to the brand, go to the Instagram. I mean, you're not going to be disappointed. And I just can't wait to keep watching you grow and build those relationships and continue to grow your community.
Thank you.
I'm
I
so
truly
excited.
appreciate it. And I appreciate you being a part of it, from the beginning, like very early on, very early on, and you have a great following, and some, people unfollow, follow, whatever, but you engage, and you respond and to stories and DM, it's full throttle. So I really appreciate that. And that motivates me, to keep going, to truly keep going, because someone like you get it. And that's what I am doing it for. I'm doing it like, okay, like I'm in the right lane, because if this, so I really appreciate that. And I am going to take your advice. This is just perfect timing on how I want to set up my 2024 in being fearless. The word ready has been on me. It's been on me. So I'm getting ready so I can, what they say, so you can stay ready. And so this has really been it's just a highlight to ending my year, but starting, the new year. I keep on saying, like, I'm going to be 44. So I'm like, whoop, whoop. This is my Obama year. So I was like, listen, I have to come in hot and stay hot and have my tribe, that's rooting for me. And I appreciate you seeing me. I appreciate you wanting to learn more of my story. And thank you for this platform and being able to express that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you, your IG, all that?
Sure. So you can find me on IG at tk.tips. You can get all of your Mommin and Village, Live Well Daily, and all that good stuff merch at Mommin, MOMMIN.shop, Mommin.shop. You can find me on Facebook at TK Tips Lifestyle, and you can find me on TikTok. I'm just starting to get into TikTok, but you can find me there at TK Tips Lifestyle. So, yeah.
Yay. And everything that she just said will all be linked in the show notes. So you could just click and get your merch.
Yes.
But I want to thank you so much for just being a part of the Beauty in You podcast. I really enjoyed this moment. I'm just so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm excited for you. When you put up the podcast, like, yes, like, I just love it. Because I love your content. Like I'm in it. I'm in it. All of your tips and everything that you share, like I said, that is just so genuine and natural that I can relate to. So thank you again for this platform and the opportunity. This was awesome.
Thank you. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Beauty in You podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Visit us at thechiquitamac.com or join us on Instagram at thechiquitamac for your daily motivation and inspiration. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Until next time.